Every week, millions of Americans tuned in to watch Colonel Hogan outsmart the Nazis. Bob Crane was America's favorite TV dad. Charming, funny, wholesome. But on June 29, 1978, Bob Crane was found in his bed, his skull crushed by a camera tripod, an electrical cord wrapped around his neck, blood splattered from wall to ceiling. And when police searched his apartment, they found something that would destroy his image forever. Hundreds of hours of homemade sex tapes, thousands of photographs, a secret life that America never knew about. His best friend was with him the night before. Blood matching Bob's type was found in that friend's rental car. Brain tissue was found on the seat, but no one ever went to prison. 40-7 years later, we still don't know who killed Colonel Hogan. But before the murder, before the sex tapes, Bob Crane was just a kid from Connecticut who wanted to play the drums. July 13, 1928, Waterbury, Connecticut. Robert Edward Crane was born into a simple, working-class family. By 11 years old, Bob had discovered his passion, drums. He wasn't just good, he was exceptional. He played for the Connecticut Symphony Orchestra at 14, the Norwalk Symphony, every jazz band that would have him, but the orchestra fired him after a year. The reason? He wasn't serious enough. He joked too much. He couldn't stop making people laugh. That would become the story of his life. Talent mixed with charm, and a dark side nobody could see coming. In 1950, Bob started working in radio, small stations in New York, then Connecticut. He had a gift, that voice, that wit, that ability to make you feel like he was your best friend. 1956, CBS Radio hired him for their Los Angeles flagship station, KNX, within months. Bob Crane was the #1 morning show host in LA. They called him the king of the Los Angeles airwaves. Marilyn Monroe came on his show, Frank Sinatra, Bob Hope. Everyone wanted to talk to Bob Crane. He had a beautiful wife and 3 kids, a house in the suburbs, the American dream, wrapped up in a drum-playing, joke-telling package. But Bob Crane wanted more. He wanted to be a star. And then Hollywood came calling. They offered him a role that would make him famous, playing a hero in a Nazi prison camp. Yes, a comedy about Nazis. In 1965, Bob Crane got the role of a lifetime, Colonel Robert Hogan in Hogan's Heroes, a sitcom set in a Nazi prisoner of war camp. That sounds insane. A comedy about World War II, about concentration camps. Critics thought it would be cancelled after 1 episode. Instead, it became a massive hit. For 6 seasons, from 1965 to 1971, Americans watched Colonel Hogan outwit the bumbling Nazi guards. Bob Crane was nominated for 2 Emmy Awards. He was the wholesome TV dad everyone loved, church-going family man, all-American hero. But behind the scenes, something else was happening. Bob Crane had discovered a new hobby, photography, but not landscapes or family portraits. He was photographing women, lots of women, and he wasn't hiding it from the cast and crew. His dressing room became known as Porn Central. He showed his collection to anyone who would look, co-stars, crew members, even executives, and then he met the man who would change everything and possibly kill him. His name was John Carpenter. He sold video equipment, and he taught Bob Crane how to do something that would destroy his career and maybe cost him his life. John Carpenter was a video equipment salesman for Sony in the 1960s. Home video was brand new technology, revolutionary, and Carpenter was an expert. Another cast member, Richard Dawson, introduced Carpenter to Bob Crane, and immediately they clicked. Carpenter taught Bob how to use the newest video cameras, how to edit, how to record. And Bob used that knowledge to film his sexual encounters with dozens of women, maybe hundreds. Carpenter became Bob's wingman. They would go to bars together. Bob's celebrity attracted the women. Carpenter set up the cameras. The 2 men were inseparable. They traveled together. They hunted together. They filmed together. By day, Bob Crane was Colonel Hogan, America's hero. By night, he was something else entirely. In 1970, Bob divorced his wife Ann after 21 years of marriage. He married Patricia Olson, an actress from Hogan's Heroes who played Hilda, the secretary. But even marriage couldn't stop him. The affairs continued. The filming continued. And Carpenter was always there. Some people started to wonder, was Carpenter in love with Bob? Was there something more than friendship? When Hogan's Heroes ended, Bob Crane's career collapsed. He went from TV star to dinner theater, and his secrets started catching up with him. When Hogan's Heroes was cancelled in 1971, Bob Crane thought Hollywood would come calling with movie offers. It did, in single quotes t. His reputation was catching up with him. Word had spread about the photographs, the videos, the women. In 1973, Disney hired Bob for a family movie called Soup. But on set, he couldn't help himself. He showed his pornographic photos to crew members on a Disney set with a young Kurt Russell in the cast. Disney executives found out. Bob Crane's movie career was over before it started. By 1975, he was desperate. NBC gave him one more chance, The Bob Crane Show. It was cancelled after 13 weeks. So Bob Crane did what fading stars do. He hit the dinner theater circuit. Small towns, small stages, a long way from Colonel Hogan. but John Carpenter followed him. Wherever Bob went, Carpenter arranged his business trips to match. The filming continued. By 1978, Bob Crane was tired. He was turning 50. He wanted to change. He told his son Robert, "I'm divorcing Patty. I'm cutting ties with Carpenter. I want a clean slate." 2 weeks before his 50th birthday, Bob Crane was dead. The night before he died, Bob Crane had dinner with John Carpenter. He told Carpenter their friendship was over. Hours later, someone crushed his skull while he slept. June 1978, Scottsdale, Arizona. Bob Crane was performing in a dinner theater production of Beginner's Luck at the Windmill Theater. John Carpenter flew to Phoenix on June 25th to spend a few days with his old friend. They went to bars. They met women, just like the old days. On the night of June 28th, Bob and Carpenter had dinner together. According to witnesses, Bob told Carpenter something devastating. "I don't need you anymore. Our friendship is over." Carpenter's reaction? Nobody knows for sure. But he left Arizona the next morning on a 7 a.m. flight. Sometime in the early hours of June 29th, while Bob Crane slept in his apartment at the Winfield complex, someone entered his room. They struck him twice in the head with a heavy, blunt object. Police believe it was a camera tripod. Then they wrapped an electrical cord around his neck. The cord was cut from a video camera. Bob Crane never woke up. Around 2 p.m. that afternoon, Bob's co-star Victoria Ann Berry went to check on him. He had missed a lunch meeting. She opened the door and found blood everywhere, on the walls, on the ceiling, soaking the sheets. Bob Crane was curled in a fetal position. His skull was crushed. His eyes were still open. Police found blood in Carpenter's rental car, brain tissue on the seat, but they never found the murder weapon, and Carpenter was never convicted. Here's the problem. Scottsdale. Police had no homicide division in 1978. They had never handled the celebrity murder, and they made mistakes. The crime scene was contaminated. Evidence was mishandled. Bob's son Robert visited the apartment and accidentally added his own fingerprints to the scene. But one piece of evidence stood out. Police found blood in John Carpenter's rental car, type B blood, the same as Bob Crane's. Only 10% of people have type B blood. And there was something else, what appeared to be brain tissue on the passenger seat. But this was 1978. DNA testing didn't exist, and the actual tissue sample, it was lost. For 14 years, the case went cold. Then in 1990, investigators found an old evidence photograph showing the brain tissue in Carpenter's car. They reopened the case, in 1992. John Henry Carpenter was finally arrested and charged with murder. The trial in 1994 should have been a slam dunk, but the murder weapon was never found. The DNA evidence was inconclusive. The tissue sample was missing. Carpenter's lawyers argued that any of Bob's many sexual partners or their angry husbands and boyfriends could have killed him. The jury deliberated, and they found John Henry Carpenter not guilty. Carpenter walked free. 4 years later, in 1998, he died of a heart attack. He always maintained his innocence. Bob Crane was buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park in Los Angeles. His second wife, Patricia, was buried beside him in 2007 and 2016. A Phoenix reporter got permission to retest the blood samples with modern DNA technology. The results: 2 unknown DNA profiles. Neither matched Bob Crane. Neither matched John Carpenter. After 47 years, we're further from the truth than ever. The Maricopa County District Attorney still says he's convinced Carpenter did it, but he can never prove it. Bob Crane's son Robert believes his stepmother Patricia may have been involved. She inherited everything when Bob died. And some theorists believe it was a jealous husband or boyfriend who discovered one of Bob's secret tapes. In 2002, Greg Kinnear played Bob Crane in the film Autofocus. Roger Ebert called it brilliant. It showed America the man behind Colonel Hogan, the addiction, the darkness, the double life. Bob Crane was 49 years old when he died. He had everything: talent, fame, a loving family, and he threw it all away chasing something he could never satisfy every week. Millions of Americans still watch Hogan's Heroes reruns. They see the charming Colonel with a mischievous smile. They don't see the man who filmed his secrets and took them to his grave, who killed Bob Crane, his best friend, a jealous lover, an angry husband. 47 years later, the only person who knows for sure is dead. What do you think happened? Was it Carpenter? Someone else? Drop your theory in the comments. I read every single one. If you want more unsolved Hollywood mysteries, hit that subscribe button. Next week, Natalie Wood found floating in the ocean. Her husband was on the boat. He's still alive and still a suspect. Until then, be careful who you trust.